Welcome to Does It Matter? Um, there's a recent study that I looked at. It's about, I think, 3 years old now. It's been replicated a couple more times, which is good. And it's called the SCAR study. And they took 24 women and deliberately scarred their faces and then got them to go through interviews and interactions with other people. They gave them a severe scar and a much more neutral scar, and then ran them through a series of interviews, and then got the scarred women to evaluate how they were treated and their responses to from people because of the scarring, as if asking them what impact they thought the scarring had on the people that were interviewing them and talking and interacting with them. What they didn't know as part of the study was that the scars were removed. They were told that the scars had to have a powder applied to make sure they weren't easily rubbed off. But in reality, the scars were all removed. They were not scarred. Every single one of the study participants professed degrees, depending on whether the scars were neutral or severe. They professed to having been treated much worse by people, being treated more unfriendly, more hostilely, more judgmentally. They felt that people were looking at them more and more judgmentally. People's body language was interpreted to be more hostile, to be more unfriendly, to be more judgmental. In reality, their image hadn't changed at all. They were the same. What that study shows is that those women were manufacturing their experience with other people. I find that terrifying, to be honest. I mean, I've always known to some degree it existed, but to have it confirmed in some pretty hard science, to the degree that it was, which was everyone, all of them, and the replicant sciences, the replicated studies have come up with the same degree of consolidation. They all thought that they were being... It explains the grievance society that we live in today. It explains social breakdown. It explains a lot of things, because if we think that if in our minds we carry a scar, and whatever that scar might be, your obesity, your poverty, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But if you carry some kind of psychic scar on your soul, you will apply that to other people. You will apply that. You will judge everything they say and do based upon what you think they see. And you can see how horribly astray that can go, because none of those women were scarred. They just thought they were. So how many people out there think that they're in some way inferior? How many people carry insecurities? How many people carry wounds? And those things have no impact, or invisible to others, but they think they are, and their behavior reflects it. And so it affects the behavior of the person who believes they're so afflicted, and that changes the reactions of other people. So not only are they wrong about what other people are perceiving, but they're also altering the potential set of perceptions, reactions that a person can have by their own behavior as a reaction to an imaginary scar or an imaginary affliction, or an invisible one that no one can see. Either way, we're projecting outwards onto the world. We're projecting our inner pain, our inner perceptions onto the world falsely. It's often not true. Most people aren't looking at what you think they're looking at. They're not making the judgments you think they're making. Kind of scary because of the ubiquity of it, the almost near uniformity of these studies and the replicant studies. It was almost uniform. In the original study, it was uniform. All 24 participants, same thing. If they were less scarred, they felt that the reactions were less. And yet the reactions were the same in every case. It shows me what you're carrying in your head, good, positive, weird, whatever, is very likely to be projected outwards. It also shows the power of the negativity bias, that we're prone to negativity because it's a survival trait. And women are more prone to negativity bias than men, even more so because they're more vulnerable, or were historically more vulnerable. And so that negativity bias can make you see dragons and dark shadows where there aren't any, and can make you see and imagine things. It can make you more neurotic. It can make you more, negatively emotional, and it can skew your experience of the world and others. Certainly something we need to consider. All of us, male and female, we need to think about how we might be imposing our inner world onto others and colouring everything they're saying and doing with us based upon whatever's happening inside us. And we all know it to some degree, but it's good to have science confirm it very strongly that that's what we tend to do, that cognitive bias that we have, and our desire to, I wouldn't say desire, but our inclination, our instinct to think because we feel or think a certain way, or because we assume a certain thing, that it will be true for others. Well, that's not necessarily the case. So something to chew on, something to think about. What scars are you carrying? What wound, what bias do you have? What things do you think about yourself that you feel you're judged by others? There's a really good chance it's BS, okay? They're not even thinking of that. They're not even seeing that. You're just putting that in there, into the ether. You're putting that into your relationships. You're putting that into your friendships and messing them up. Don't do that. Have a beautiful day. Oos.